Well, howdy, howdy, howdy. Actually, I thought I was not going to be the one on screen right now, but I am. So, how you doing? Welcome to SBG News, Views, and Conspiracies with my buddy myself, Robert Imbrielli. Let me bring him on right now. Boom! Look at there. We are both fantastic. Robert, my buddy, how are you?
Ah, yeah, doing okay. How are you today, Lewis?
So, guys,
I'm looking for the frames. Where are the frames in this shot? What did we do?
we're working with new
Guys, just to
software.
let you know,
New
Lewis and I
software.
we're
Sorry.
producing today on software that Lisa usually runs. So excuse the errors.
I think it's going to go awesome. We already got the flub out of the way, so we're ready to rock. Folks, can you do us a favor and please like, share, subscribe, whatever you have to do to get the word out. We all know we're being attacked on every platform possible, and make sure you go to screwbiggov.com to find everything that we're doing there. You'll find all the social media links, all the documentaries that I've done, you name it, soon to come, all the links to my other websites, and of course, information on the Unity Tour. Make sure that you also go to Robert's Renegade Media on Telegram, because this is a great place to find everything that's summarized from what we do. So I guess, Mr. Imbraley, you take it away.
Boy, it's stuttering so much on my side. I'm catching every third or fourth word, and that is on my end, not the system. It's my internet. I've got 3 internet connections bonded here today, and it's just not cutting it. Anyway, yes, the big story, if you will, more than anything today is who's it going to be? Who is going to replace the big guy? No, not that big guy, Joe Biden. Who's going to replace him? Oh my, the conspiracies around this are quite intriguing. People are throwing names up. Mark Kelly, the senator from Arizona.
Wow.
Really?
Nice Satanist. That's a
The
good
former
one.
astronaut? He might be the one.
Yeah.
There's another one. There's another governor where they're looking at, not Newsom. There's another governor. Then it comes out that, well, it's got to be Kamala. Okay, for those of you who are feeling sick right now, just close your eyes, take a deep breath. It's going to be okay, right?
Oh,
One of the challenges that they
all of
have
those
is,
would be awesome, actually, Robert. None of them, I think, makes anybody sick except the
well,
Democrats.
well, here's the challenge for them, and this came out this morning. There is a $200 million war chest that Biden and Kamala have that
hmm
cannot be transferred to another candidate. Oops. Oops.
uh, yeah,
So
but
the logical choice in this one,
it, yes, it can go to Kamala, is what you're going to say, right?
it can go to Kamala because it's Kamala and Biden together. It can go to Kamala, but it can't go anywhere else, apparently.
Right. Now, isn't that going to
So
be
if they
interesting?
put Newsom in there, oops, we're going to have a challenge.
Are you on a
Yeah.
delay, Robert? Because I'm hearing you just fine. Is
Yeah,
everything
you're coming in very choppy for me. So
interesting?
everything was perfect until we went live. As soon as we went live, it just bleh.
Now, if if you re-log on, I wonder if that would be an issue.
I am looking at my internet connections here, and they're all popping. I've got what should be more than enough bandwidth to send one video stream out because I'm not doing Zoom and everything else that we normally do.
Now, if you log off, I
All
believe
right.
if you log off, I believe it maintains the stream, and then you could come back on,
Yes,
and
it does. Yeah.
I'm probably still running it at that time. If you want to
Yeah.
try that,
Hmm.
that's up to you, because the audience is not having a problem. I'm not having a problem. It's just you. So I'm trying to make it easier on you. Maybe you log back off and
It's just
on.
me. I know it's my internet connection. Yeah. They have on the bottom, it tells you what the internet connection is. I've got one bar on my side, so that's not good.
Right.
All right. Let me restart it, see if that helps.
Okay. I'll keep everybody entertained. You ready? Okay, here we go. We're gonna do jumping jacks. 1, 2, 3. So where Robert was going with this, I think it is super, super interesting. So let's step back for a second. Are we watching a movie or not? Right? So if we're not watching a movie, it appears that the
There is no election. That they have other cards up their sleeves. A lot of people have been saying they have, call it the Trump card, if you will, but they have some cards up their sleeves, which is the reasoning we're being given why the White Hats have not taken full control yet, is because they're afraid of what the other guys have up their sleeve. They have
who's saying
something
that?
on
That
us
was
that.
that's been my theory. Are you telling me that other
Mhm.
people are saying that now? So they're watching
Yeah,
our
I'm
show?
hearing that from other people. Maybe,
Yeah.
maybe.
I'm the only one that had that theory for the last 2 years. It's interesting that suddenly now people have that theory. And it's just, you know what, it's just getting so old. You and I come out with things all the time here, and the next thing people come out with the same exact thing months or years later, and suddenly they'll get a million views on something we couldn't get 20,000 on. Well, you just have to
Yeah.
laugh at it now.
We really
So
do, but we've been ahead of the narrative, Lewis, and I think that's what one of the challenges is why they like to put the kibosh on our channels because we've been ahead of it for so long, and really sometimes months ahead of it.
yeah, yeah. I've
You
seen
know,
a lot of cut and paste of my articles now, and they'll throw in a couple words here and there. And like, okay, so at least I know who's doing it. And by the way, they have well over 200,000 views. So interesting enough. Just go find your own content,
just spell
guys.
my name correctly. That's all I ask.
Yeah, well, they don't. That's the part. You're X'd out of it. I'm X'd out of it. They're making it as if it's their own narrative, but whatever.
Mm.
So what's interesting though is you and I have been saying here forever. We don't even think there's going to be an election, and the question really that we have to ask: the wackier this gets, Robert, do you believe there is still a major deep state element controlling things? Not that there is one, just that they're controlling things. What's your
I will
gut?
answer that question on September 3rd.
September 3rd. Okay,
Hmm.
on the kickoff of our Unity tour.
Hmm. Yep. At that point, we will know. We'll be very clear because we'll be through July, we'll be through August, and we will know exporting of liquid natural gas. Right? They were trying to kick that out, and the court said no, you can't stop that. You can't interfere like that.
Right.
So that's going. So they're trying to hit it from so many different angles. This is why I say this is an opportunity. This, I mean, a point in time for us to be ultra cautious, to have eyes in the back of our heads, to really be supportive of one another because you might see something I don't see, or I might see something you don't see. I need to be able to tell you right away what I'm seeing, right? If I'm out here in Camp Pendleton and there's something popping, I might know about it before anybody else. I need to be able to
Hmm.
reach out to the people in my circle and say, "Hey, something's going on. Not sure what, but something's going on. We need to be aware."
Yeah.
Because we're getting into that period now, I think. And like I said, by the time September comes, I think it'll be very clear
Hmm.
to us, where things are going, and we'll know are they going to pull off the election by then or not. We'll be very clear on it, I think, at that point.
Yeah, I think we may be clear by August. Actually, based on
Maybe.
what July looks like. I don't think anybody out there that believes this is a movie. You're eating your popcorn, wearing your frog mask. You should also be responsible enough to look at real things. There's still people crossing the border. There's in Gaza right now as we speak, right? So I I think it would
Yep.
behoove anybody that is full on movie 100% to maybe step back and say maybe it can be both. Maybe is a lot of white hat control. I call them gray hats, but at the same time, they're still fighting elements of the deep state. And I think that's more likely, right? Because if there was full control right now, it's just disclosure time. Just let everybody know what's going on, show the proof on analog video, and let's move forward, right? I think people need to learn more, and they need to see what the deep state is doing. And I do really think, because we know every war is ended in a treaty, and what precedes a treaty is negotiations. What precedes the
Right.
negotiations is the bad guy has some form of leverage, right? That's exactly what I believe we're in right now, where the deep state has some form of leverage, just like you mentioned, and therefore this is the negotiation time.
Well, if you are out there watching us and still don't believe there's a white hat contingent or a gray hat contingent, ask yourself this simple question: if there wasn't a counterforce, don't you think we'd already be a communist nation? Maybe the Second Amendment's all that's holding us back, but then maybe that falls under the gray hat category. Maybe we are the plan, the people.
Hmm.
Maybe we are holding it off. But there has to be a counterforce. Just because we don't necessarily see it every day, all day, doesn't mean it doesn't exist. And I believe we would be much further along the path to communism. You want to know? Just look at Canada, right? Look how far they've come. It's
Hmm.
crazy up there. Crazy.
Yep. Canada and Australia, very similar
Punch,
situations.
counterpunch. Yep. So we're holding our own. I think it would be safe to say that we're holding our own at this point, and we are seeing enough wins. Democratic Party certainly in shambles and in disarray now. They don't know what to do. It's Phoebe and I were just laughing. It's like the media is so surprised that Joe has dementia. That's an act. They
Thank
knew
you.
before he was installed that he had
Yep.
dementia. They were told to cover it up, and they did. And now they're acting. Oh my God, we
There's
didn't
yep.
know. How we didn't we know it was so bad? But where the heck you been? Oh, brother. Yeah. So senior Biden campaign officials are quietly pushing Kamala Harris as if the campaign is not behind your candidacy, I think you got a problem. What do you think?
Did I put it on the right slide for you?
Oh. No, that was the first. That's okay. That was kind of the first one. But yeah, you look at this. The dam is broken. This is the 25 congressional Democrats that are preparing to call on Joe Biden campaign. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see that. And by the way, I'm going to put this one up because I think this one's important too. Guess who flew to Washington D.C. this morning to have a meeting?
Go figure.
Hmm. What's Mark Levin call him? The hair gel guy?
Yeah. That's their golden boy,
Apparently,
actually.
yeah. Apparently, he has no actual close friends. He's so fake as a human being and so
Hmm.
corrupt. Um, yeah, nobody wants to be his friend.
So
So
he and Kamala would work well together.
they would, well, they know each other. They're both from this interesting state we live in, California,
That's right. They sure
right?
are.
Wasn't she the attorney general in California?
Yeah. Well, and she put away more black people than anybody previously, too.
Yep, yep. And had no moral code whatsoever to follow. It was
She did.
fascinating.
She did have calluses on her knees, though. So that's a health issue. I do feel sorry for her about.
So anyway, this is Nick Sorter. He's a reporter, and he's been on Lahaina for a Lahaina story for a long time. But he says, just in, all hands on campaign call. Joe Biden and Kamala Harris say they will fight for the re-election. According to the Associated Press, Biden says, let me say this as clearly as I possibly can without mumbling, um, and as simply as straightforward as I can. I'm mumbling. I mean, I'm running. No one's pushing me out. I'm not leaving unless I fall asleep. I'm in the race to the end, which I hope is around 2 o'clock because I need a nap, and we're going to win.
Ay, ay, ay.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's, just to give an overview of what's really happening out there is like in the morning, they're pushing him out. He tells the New York Times or one of his close advisors that he may be quitting. He comes back out and he says, no, I'm not quitting. He puts out this statement. I'm like, so you've got when you see that happening in a campaign, you got to be clear that it is in terrible disarray. They can't get their communication straight.
Mhm.
They just can't. They're all over the place. That's a train wreck. I'm sorry, that's a train wreck.
Well, let's go the movie route for a second, because it's fun. So the first name you floated from Arizona today was
Mark Kelly.
exactly Mark Kelly is an astronaut. Mark
Hmm.
Kelly looks different than he looked before. Mark Kelly has done some really, really weird things. He's supposedly Mark Kelly was walking his pit bull on a beach, and his pit bull, uh, and then he was upset that he was put in that situation. I mean, the guys and Maricopa County, Arizona, all through Arizona is the worst of the worst when it comes to political corruption, right? And he's I believe he's part of the McCain discipleship. So he can't be trusted, right? So here's my point. So you got Mark Kelly with all that background. You got camel toe, golden knee pad Harris, right? You have Gavin Newsom, probably 3.0 Gavin Newsom, but like as you say, fake as ever. He would have been recalled if it wasn't a fake recall election. They got over 2 million signatures to get rid of Gavin Newsom. You've got plus he's related to Nancy Pelosi, and then you have Big Mike, right? And nobody right at this point he is not going to get that many votes because even the Democrats are like, why did you lie about being a transvestite? Now take that package of your potential president candidates with Joe Biden, right, and compare that to the extraordinarily charismatic Barack Obama that was very, very articulate and could capture an audience. Doesn't matter. He's a piece of crap, obviously, but you just have to know that. Or you have Bill Clinton that was very, very charismatic and could capture an audience. So juxtapose those two to the ones I just mentioned. It feels like it has to be a movie because why would the Democrats, your top 4 or 5 potential candidates would be never considered in a million years on any other election? It's just madness.
Right. So there's two you didn't mention on that list. Hillary,
Oh yeah. Oh God.
right?
Same thing. But yeah.
And then the other one is Oprah.
Are they
Oprah's name has
floating
been
Hillary? Are
floated.
they floating Hillary?
Yeah, they're floating Hillary. Hillary actually is yeah. There's a lot of discussion about that because she wants her turn. She didn't have her turn yet. It's like musical chairs, right? It's all the same people. uh,
Every day Donald Trump is calling me. Right there. There's proof.
ah, ah,
Um, yeah, it's funny that they'd even float Hillary. Now, I believe all of these people I just mentioned are already gone, but that's my belief system. I believe they're mask wearers, actors. Actors are behind the mask. But that being said, there's all of them would be the worst possible candidates that could ever go up. And and look at like if the Democrats are really in control, you know who they would put in there? Joe Manchin. They would have
hmm,
tried to capture Tulsi Gabbard and have her stay a Democrat. You know what I mean? But that's why this you have to know this is all a show.
yeah.
That's just what it feels like. So I'm just trying to give both positions here.
Now the other thing that's popping up is Donald Trump's vice presidential pick. He mentioned last week he'd already made up his mind, and there was a post on X saying that it was Michael Flynn.
Ah,
I couldn't prove that anywhere, but I'm
that guy.
thinking probably not. The other one that's floated is Vivek Ramaswamy. We know that we've been talking about that for a couple of weeks now, but we won't know until he actually says something, which probably won't be until the convention. My guess. Now that he
Uh,
won't be jailed on July 11th,
if it's Flynn, it's 100% a movie. I can tell you that because uh, Trump spends virtually zero time with Flynn talking about Flynn. Um, And also, if you look at the Patriot community, it's like 50% of people don't trust him and 50% of people love him. So that is the number one person that
right?
is the most divisive with inside the Patriot community. I would be shocked. But again, I've always come to this conclusion is every name that's floated is not the name that it will be generally. You know what I mean? I wouldn't be
Yeah.
surprised if it would be a Tulsi Gabbard type person. Yes, I understand she was WEF. I get it. But look at Vivek was WEF. Vivek was pro pharma big time. So That would be a weird selection for me. Again, we just have to see how this plays out. And it's funny as I really think no matter what happens, eventually Trump will be back in office. My question is, when Trump's back in office, will he do all the things he promised us, the so-called conspiracy theorist, right? And that I think is very, very important because we have to hold big pharma accountable. We have to pull the government down
Yeah.
to 10% of what it was. So ultimately, I think that's the question, and that's where you and I get to hold his feet and his administration's feet to the fire, and to make sure, come on, we the people now. It's we the people time.
Well, it's telling too, Lewis, that why have the Republicans not even attempted an impeachment of Biden? It's the articles of impeachment have come up 4 or 5 times in the past 3.5 years, and went absolutely nowhere. So
Hmm.
it makes you think, okay, they're all on the same team then, right? That's
Hmm.
what else could you believe about that? You're watching your country be destroyed brick by brick at 100 miles an hour every single day, and they've done nothing. Absolutely nothing. I can't point to anything that they've done to try and stop it. They haven't tried to stop the financing. Mike Johnson said, "Oh, you guys can ignore the debt limit for the next year and a half. Spend as much as you want."
Yeah.
That's not doing anything to control it,
Oh,
right? They didn't defund the DOJ. They didn't
yeah.
defund the FBI. They could have done so much. Even with Border Patrol, they could have had their hand in there too, but they've done nothing. So, Juan has always said, hey, our government's a captured operation. When you look at it from that perspective, that has a lot of merit, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. But I believe it is a captured operation. I believe also we've been dealing with a uniparty for several
Hmm.
decades. There is no separation. The separation you see is purely an act in order to keep the division going so they can run the country. I mean, you and I said it day one. Biggest clue is when Mike Johnson got a 100% of the Republican votes. That's
Yep.
it. It
Another
did.
huge red
It should have
flag.
been at that time. It should have been game over. It's a captured operation. We know what's going on here. It's very very clear. This is uniparty and so on and so forth for sure. Hey, there's a name that's been floated as VP for Trump. Would be my favorite pick, by the way. Was JFK Jr. That would
Hey,
if you watch my movie 2020, which was done 4 years ago now, I actually
wow.
said that JFK Jr. Is the emotional keystone that will turn everything around for us. So we'll find out.
Maybe we should play that movie for everyone on Friday, just for the
That
fun
could
of
be,
it.
yeah, yeah. There's a lot of kind of things in there. It even talks about Flynn being the evidentiary keystone, where he has all the evidence, whether you think he's a good guy or not. Yeah, that's I believe so. Um, and what
Yeah.
my apprehension with Flynn forever has been, Flynn was in charge of psyops, and so how do we know that's not what he's doing right now? Right. So that's why I've always been at. That's why I don't pick a side with Flynn. Seen him, been there, been in the room with them. Actually, he or one of his buddies asked me to come over to the table and talk. I just didn't feel it, so I didn't go over to the table. So, and I'm not saying he's bad or good. And I know people get so upset when you just say he's bad or just say he's good. I don't know because he's a psyop wrapped in a psyop. So I'm going to be honest. I have no idea.
We are in a psyop war, and I've had this conversation with Phoebe many times now about people we think are the good guys may not necessarily be the good guys, and people we think are the bad guys may not necessarily be the bad guys. And one thing that I've been doing recently, probably the last 4 or 5 months, is I've stopped looking at people's backgrounds as much as I look
Mm.
at what they're doing currently. If they're doing
Yeah.
the right thing currently, I kind of ignore their background, even though they may be WEF or whatever. It's like, are
Yep.
you on the right side now? Because people change, right? People learn and people grow and that kind of
Yeah.
thing. So, are you working for the greater good now? If you are, welcome to our team. If you're not, get out.
I agree with you, by the way, unless their background has something to do with I agree with you because I believe a lot of them have a talking to. I
Yeah.
definitely believe Tucker had a talking to, and Joe Rogan had a talking to, right? And there it's like stop screwing around and let's do it, or you're going to be held accountable. So I agree with you. It's all about the fruits right now. You know, what do your fruits show us? And that's what we have to pay attention to. I think we're getting way late. You want to move on here? My apologies, by the way.
No apologies necessary. You know what it is we have so much to share, and I think especially these are big topics. These are not little topics, so it's worthwhile spending a little bit of time on them. All right, are you ready for the TF moment?
TF moment.
TF, where's your TF? Go get your head oil.
Oh, tinfoil hat moment. Oh my gosh, is it? Are we
I'm
already
sorry, I speak
there?
in acronyms. It's just my thing.
Yes, I am ready, guys. This is going to be muy interesante, as my wife would say.
Oh, I love that. You want to hit it? Or you want me to hit it?
Uh, Hold on, I'm trying to get my.
We're both producing today. We're co-producing the show.
Yeah, now there's an issue too. Sorry, guys.
So if we make a mistake, you don't know who to blame. I love it.
Just blame
Not
Robert.
just me on the hot seat.
Just blame Robert and get it over with. Here, I have
Uh,
to move things around. This is very weird. Okay, I think I got it. All right. Yeah, let's roll.
okay.
Tinfoil hat time.
All righty. Well, it's coming up on July 4th, otherwise known as Independence Day. Were there any conspiracies in regarding Independence Day? Oh, I don't know. Maybe. But let's give a little background real quick. Independence Day, known as the 4th of July, is the great people of the United States that's all, folks, commemorating the Declaration of Independence, which was ratified by the Second Continental Congress on July 4th, 1776, establishing what? The United States of America. Now, the founding fathers, delegates of the Second Continental Congress, declared that the 13 colonies were no longer subject or subordinate to the monarch of who? The Britain's King George III. And then they were now united, free and independent states. The Congress voted to approve independence by passing the Lee Resolution on what date? July 2nd, and adopted the Declaration of Independence 2 days later on July 4th. Now, crazy lefties, woo, and big government propagandists would tell you that celebrating Independence Day is a celebration of an insurrection, celebration of rioters, celebration of thieves, tax evaders, and lawbreakers. They would even say it was a coup. Huh. See the correlation there to modern times? So these great men from 1776 would today be called right wing. How far have we come? Not very. Isn't that interesting? So during the American Revolution, the legal separation of the 13 colonies from Great Britain in 1776 actually occurred on July 2nd, when the Second Continental Congress voted to approve a resolution of independence that had been proposed in June by none other than Richard Henry Lee of Virginia. That's why it was the Lee Declaration. He declared the United States independent from Great Britain's rule. Now, after voting for independence, Congress turned its attention to the Declaration of Independence. Now, this is a statement that's explaining this decision, which had been prepared by the Committee of Five, which asked who? Thomas Jefferson to author its first draft. Now, Jefferson largely wrote the Declaration of Independence in isolation from the second floor of a building he was renting in a 3-story private home in Philadelphia, now known as the Declaration House. So what happened is Congress debated and revised the wording of the Declaration, removing Jefferson's vigorous denunciation of King George III. finally approving it 2 days later on July 4th. See, Jefferson was a very vocal opponent of King George III and wasn't much concerned about the backlash of calling this pig a pig. Interesting enough, a day earlier, John Adams wrote this letter to his wife Abigail. I see this fascinating. He said, the second day of July 1776 will be the most memorable epoch in the history of America. And I am apt to believe that it will be celebrated by succeeding generations as the great anniversary festival. Now, he did this in 1776, folks. He said it ought to be commemorated as the day of deliverance by solemn acts of devotion to God Almighty. It ought to be solemnized with pomp and parade, bells, bonfires, and illuminations from one end of this continent to the other from this time forward forevermore. Interesting. Adams' prediction was only off by 2 days due to the rewrite and the review in Congress. So, most historians have concluded that the Declaration was actually signed nearly a month after its adoption on August 2nd, 1776. So, the dates are very interesting. Obviously, everybody believes it and celebrates it on July 4th. So, by a remarkable coincidence, now listen to this, Thomas Jefferson and John Adams were the only two signatories of the Declaration of Independence later to serve as presidents of the United States. You want to hear another coincidence? July 4th. Now, the exact number for you numerologists from July 4th would be 1776, which is 7 plus 4 plus 1 plus 7 plus 7 plus 6, equaling 32. What's the reverse of 32? What have we learned? 23. 23 is pain. Very interesting. And if you break it down all the way, 32 equals 5, and there's a lot of ramifications to that number. So here's my belief. Are we independent? Individually, we are independently and free. But are we truly free? Think about this. Who runs the world? Well, looks like Trinity runs the world. You have the City of London runs the banking system. The Vatican runs the religious system. Yes, system. Washington, D.C. is in control of the military. You want to hear something interesting? The City of London, the Vatican, and D.C. all have huge obelisks in them. Guess what else? All three of them are independent from their own country. How's that possible? The City of London is a corporation within itself. Everybody knows the Vatican City is completely separate from Italy. And everybody knows or should know by now that Washington, D.C. is a corporation within inside our bigger corporation inside the United States. So we will be free when we claim our freedom that God has granted us. That. All righty then. So that does that section for the conspiracy of Independence Day. And Robert, I'm just guessing that you couldn't see with your delay the movie plan, so that's why I mentioned it to you.
Yeah, thank you for that because yeah, it was just a blank screen for me, and it started playing almost a minute into it. So
Oh
I got
wow.
some of it, not all of it.
Well,
Yeah, I
I
know.
think I think the peeps got it all. So that's good. So what's your thought on
Good.
this Independence Day? I know you have some brilliant discussion coming. I feel it.
Well, yeah, it's just one of these things. It's like, it's an opportunity for us to, and this is what's missing in America, right? Is that we don't have people in our generation, the millennials and the Gen Z, who are proud of their country. They've been taught throughout their school to indoctrinated that America's bad. It's a bad, 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 bad place. And here's an opportunity to kind of take a moment and really realize what this country is about and what it stands for. And it's like it may or may not be the right day. There's a lot of that kind of stuff going on. We got to pick a day, so why not this one, right? Why don't we have a let's celebrate America Day or celebrate our freedoms or celebrate I ask a lot of people, it's like, well, if you're not America, where would you go? And the blank
Mm,
stare, right? Lewis goes, "Ooh, I don't know where I would go. Well, this is still the freest country.
mm.
Okay, we've got a lot less freedoms today than we did before 9/11. I get that. But we got to fight for them, right? It's not only, I think it was Thomas Jefferson said, you've got a republic if you can keep it. And I think that's the reality of this. It's like we really have these freedoms, we have these abilities to do what we want to do. We have a capitalist society. If you want to succeed, you can succeed, right? Not as much today, maybe as 10 years ago. We got that, but we got to fight to get those rights back, and we will. And I don't think we're going to lose this battle because too many people are now aware and waking up to it.
Yep. I'm 100% with you. That was a brilliant statement. No, and folks, we've got this. We just have to understand that we, the people, are part of the plan. It's
Yeah.
not just some dude on a white Pegasus with a unicorn on it also coming in and doing it. It's just not happening, right? We are absolutely the plan. But I believe we're starting to grasp that, and I'm very excited about the Unity tour coming up, literally 2 months from today. Very, very excited about that because we will have a roadmap to success, going forward. And the amount of emails and texts and chat that I get now about the Unity tour that's still 2 months away is amazing. So I believe it's going to be epic, really epic.
Oh, Bruce, got to finish up that RV rebuild because we need that thing running, right? We don't want to have
Exclusive.
any problems when you're on the road. You got what, 12,000 miles plus or 11,000 miles, I think, is
Yeah.
planned for this. Is a lot of mileage. Yeah.
Yeah. Whoo. Scared. Okay.
Catch your breath. Catch your breath. That's okay. You don't have to do it all in one day.
So I'm going to play a video right now from a comedian that in 2013 kind of got it right. Let's think big pharma. I cannot,
Cute.
I neither can confirm or deny that person. I will just leave it at that.
I know. I know. Is she right? Is she not right? I don't know. Yeah.
So,
After 31 million, you would think there's something there.
so what are your final words for today, my friend?
My final words are one hot dog tomorrow. Don't overdo it. We're going to have some burgers on the grill. I'm looking forward to that. And we're going to take it easy tomorrow. I will probably do a short message that I'll post up on the Renegade Media channel, sort of a July 4th thing. I've got something bubbling in my head I want to share. So I may do that. And if I don't, well, have a happy 4th of July anyway. It's time to celebrate what we do have. Remember, appreciation is a shortcut to success. If you want more, you got to appreciate the good that you have. And that's how you actually manifest more good into your life. Simple, simple, simple way it works. How about
Absolutely.
you, Lewis? What do you have to
Yeah.
say for 4th of July?
Yeah. Just, nothing comes to the mind except just, folks, we need to garner our independence. We can't sit back and wait for it any longer. God did give us the power. We, the people, hold all the power. Just know, though, we got this. If you're alone on Independence Day, maybe go to X or some chat and just say hi to a couple of people. I'm sure there'll be people to give you some technological air hugs, and a lot of love coming here from Robert and myself and all the admins, my wife and Lisa. We've got this, folks. We absolutely do. Hang in there. Have a great Independence Day. Maybe we'll throw one of my films up Friday, and then we'll see you back here Monday. God bless.